Today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026, and this is Sliced, IFNF Insights Brief number 4 of 5, From Experimentation to Scale, How IFNF Evolved Across 5 Cohorts. This is the fourth in a 5-part Innovative Finance for National Forests, or IFNF, Insights Brief Series produced by Gordian Strategies, the U.S. Endowment for Forestry and Communities, and the U.S. Forest Service. Each brief distills a core lesson from the IFNF program, drawing on 5 cohorts of grantee experience to surface what it actually takes to move conservation finance from idea to execution. A new brief will be released each month, so keep an eye out for the next in the series. The challenge: moving beyond one-off experiments. Across 5 cohorts, IFNF needed to balance space for experimentation with pressure to demonstrate scalable, repeatable conservation finance models that could mobilize meaningful private and blended capital at portfolio level. Early rounds surfaced many conceptually strong ideas, but only a subset had the institutional capacity, defined payers, and governance structures required to move from single-site pilots to platforms that could replicate across forests and regions. The core challenge was to shift from funding individual, innovative projects to building an ecosystem of investment-ready structures while maintaining a learning agenda. The key insight is that IFNF progressively tightened its focus, using readiness and portfolio learning to move from broad R&D toward a smaller set of tested financing models that could scale while still reserving room for strategic experimentation. Success drivers. What enabled the shift from experimentation to scale? Number 1, the introduction of a structured readiness lens. The 7-element readiness trial framework developed by Gordian Strategies helped distinguish between concepts that were merely investment-worthy and those that were closer to investment-ready, guiding which projects should receive feasibility, pilot, or scaling support. Applying this lens prospectively in latter cohorts allowed proponents to strengthen weak elements before awards and helped USFS and the endowment direct limited funds toward higher readiness opportunities. Number 2, deliberate evolution and cohort design. Cohorts 1 and 2 emphasized feasibility and hypothesis testing across wildfire, water, recreation, and timber-related models, accepting that many projects would deepen understanding without immediately mobilizing capital. By cohorts 3 to 5, the program increasingly backed projects with defined products, documented demand, and explicit replication strategies such as corporate water stewardship facilities and forest resilience bond platforms. Number 3, rising leverage and partnership density. Cohort 2 projects, for example, leveraged approximately $18.37 million on about $2.18 million in grants, and expanded from 29 initially identified partners to around 95 by the end of implementation, demonstrating the value of blended capital and broad coalitions. Later cohorts built on these lessons by prioritizing models that could attract diverse investors and institutional buyers, not just one-off philanthropic or grant support. Common pitfalls where projects and the portfolio of applicants stumbled. Number 1, staying in perpetual feasibility mode. Some initiative teams continued to refine concepts without committing to a concrete transaction structure, leaving strong ideas stranded in the valley of development risk. Number 2, underestimating execution timelines. Several cohort 2 and 3 projects experienced 6 to 7.5 month delays due to federal agreements, stakeholder coordination, and internal capacity limits, revealing persistent optimism bias in schedules even as the program matured. Number 3, uneven readiness across critical elements. Projects with compelling ecological logic but unresolved payer pathways, vague operational practices, or unclear policy routes often struggle to advance, despite receiving technical support and feedback. Case in point, an illustrative example. Here is a composite example based on higher performing IFNF grantees. Phase 1, Experimental Pilot. A conservation finance intermediary receives early cohort support to test an avoided cost wildfire resilience concept in a single watershed. Grant funding covers feasibility work, treatment impact modeling, and initial legal design, resulting in one fully structured pilot with a mission-aligned investor and a public agency payer. Phase 2, Structured Replication Model. Encouraged by pilot results, the intermediary returns in a mid-cohort round with a proposal for a standardized forest resilience facility. This facility uses common documentation, a repeatable underwriting approach, and an identified pipeline of utilities and counties that could participate in similar transactions. Phase 3, Scaling across geographies. In later cohorts, additional support focuses on expanding the facility to new regions, refining terms based on observed performance, and strengthening governance so that the platform can handle multiple, simultaneous projects rather than one-off deals. Practical takeaways for practitioners and partners. The first is design with the second and third transaction in mind. From the outset, ask what would need to be true for your model to work in a different forest, with a different set of partners and pairs, and start standardizing those elements early. The second is align request type with readiness. Seek feasibility funding when pairs, governance, or practices are still uncertain, and reserve pilot or scaling requests for models that have already tested their core logic and institutional capacity. And the third, treat portfolio learning as an asset. Use cross-project and cross-cohort insights about what has worked and where delays emerge to refine your own design, especially around pairs, governance, and realistic timelines. Okay, that's it for IFNF Insights Brief number 4 of 5, From Experimentation to Scale. IFNF Insights Brief number 5 will be released next month.